So anyway, finally we found the name, huh?
Yeah. We have a name now. It's a very special thing. It took us a lot of time
Yeah.
to reach to the stage, get
Yeah.
to a name and then record, get
Yeah.
everything right. And today is the day when we are actually have a name and we are recording a podcast.
Yeah. First show with the name.
For sure with the name.
Yeah. Even though we have recorded like a couple of shows, it's okay. We'll put them a little later. Yeah, for you guys to see because it's kind of nice. It's not the best, obviously, but yeah, let's see.
And the name of the show is?
Okay, let's do this. Drum roll. Supernacular. Hi guys, welcome to Supernacular. I'm Kushal,
I'm Shashank.
and this is gonna be our podcast.
Yeah. So the whole inspiration for today's podcast is that Avengers Endgame is going to come this Friday, 26th of April.
Holy hell.
Yeah.
Holy hell.
Yeah, a long time has passed very quickly. A lot of anticipation, a lot of rumors, a lot of avoiding the trailers everywhere on the internet. Even on Apple Music, people are talking about it.
Yeah.
So I'm having to skip even that sections right now.
It's been since the trailer came out. Since that time, I've not been on Facebook. I haven't been active on Instagram, YouTube. I've been like my eyes. It knows there's a thumbnail, but it's not going towards it.
Yeah, dude.
Like-
if you have an ad block that just blocks Avengers, I'm like all paying up for it right now.
Yeah,
Because it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's a big thing for us also because the first Avengers was the movie that we saw together. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't fucking believe because we were just like back in the days we were in Nagpur at that time and I had a G5 Galaxy 5. Yeah, not G5, Galaxy 5. Yeah, well, whatever. So, yeah, remember how we used to download 1080p videos on a whatever 240p screen or 480, whatever that was. Yeah, just to have a glimpse of the Avengers movie. We were different people back then, dude. Back then we had seen every single clip, but right now we haven't seen any single clip.
This movie is built like that also because it's divided into two parts, right? So
Yeah.
we know how cliffhanger,
Yeah.
how much severe the cliffhanger was in the previous movie, and then internet went berserk as soon as they saw the movie.
Yeah.
And then, even if friends come, we're like, okay, let's not talk about Endgame, let's just watch the movie because whatever you're saying, there's a very high probability it could be true.
Or very small. I don't even want a small
Yeah.
probability to be there. So
Yeah. So even we've not discussed it, anytime, even in our personal ways.
Yeah, everybody kind of knows what's gonna happen. It's
Yeah,
obvious because that's probably.
Do they really? You think so?
Everybody might have a vague idea. Vague idea. If not accurately, a very vague idea.
I think that we are all starting from the same point, but we all have our own different ways or our own interpretations of how the story is going to, pan out.
Yeah.
In the second part.
Yeah. Because everybody is talking about so many things that I'm not going to be discussing right now. It's literally 3 days from now.
No, man, 3 days from now, I'm going to control everything. It's like I'm already burning people that we've got tickets for Endgame.
It was so freaking funny how we got the tickets, man. Shit. That's probably for a different show, or do we just do it right now?
I've never stood in a line any time for any
So
movie.
basically, we wanted to go to this one particular theater. I'm not going to name what theater because so and so. But anyway, it opened one show on Friday. I mean, all the shows actually on Friday and nothing from Saturday, Sunday and all of that. So I was checking every 15 minutes. Me, Namneet and this guy was checking for like 15 minutes and we couldn't get it. That cinemas wasn't just open. It just wasn't open. Anyway, so Namneet just calls me. I'm like, hey, it's up. And all the tickets are gone. Like, how's that possible? I just checked 15 minutes ago. How will it go in like 15 minutes? I opened it up and checked like it was all gone. I was like, maybe it's a system glitch because everybody's trying to book right now. Then I was like, okay, let's see is this really real? Am I really not gonna watch it now? Because like all the other theaters are filled. We were specifically waiting for this one particular one. But anyway, so I was like, I'll just go see what's up with that. So I just went to the theater directly. I was like, okay, why are the bookings not open? And he's like, the bookings are gonna open the next day. I mean, the day I went, the next day, the day after that. Yeah, the day after that. So right then there was another chick in the next counter and she's like, "Bhaiya, please, bhaiya, life and death ka sawal hai." And I just turned towards her. I know what movie. They're like, "Yeah, that movie only. I'm behind you." So I'm giving her pointers as to like what to say, and she basically said it in like her own manner. And yeah, basically they had to open because we kind of had the upper hand because there were so many people. At least 50 people were there at that moment, and then like people just kept on like coming in. Yeah. And they said what they said. I mean, recently something happened with the theater in February. If you guys know which theater I'm talking about, go ahead. But yeah, something happened. They weren't supposed to do what they were doing. And basically, I was the one who read up on that. And I told the girl, I mean, I'm kind of boasting because I'm kind of proud of it. Whatever, I don't give a shit. Fuck you, theater. Yeah. So anyway, I told the girl, and she also like in her own way like kind of said things to the manager, and next 15-20 minutes we got the tickets. Yeah.
Nice pull.
Yeah.
So interesting. It's almost like a full circle right now where, the first movie, first Marvel Cinematic Universe movie came out in 2008, Iron Man 1, which was such a big hit because nobody was expecting it. And then Iron Man was not that big a popular character. But then the way Robert Downey Jr. played the character, he embodied Tony Stark and everything. It, kickstarted everything, the entire universe. And like 10 years later.
It's sad because no credit is going to the Hulk.
The Hulk.
Yes, it's a different studio, but it's in the same universe. Tony Stark is there, General Ross is there.
Ross is there.
Yeah. He kind of refers back to that movie when in Avengers as well, that he puts a bullet in his mouth and the next guy throws it out. Yeah, it's the reference back to the same movie. But because even I haven't seen the movie, full disclosure.
So the plan is we'll talk about the first phase of Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2,
Thor 1.
Thor and
Captain America 1 and
Avenger.
the Avengers.
The Avengers.
Yeah, and the Avengers.
So let's start with Iron Man 1, man.
Yeah,
2008.
because that's what started. Let's skip the Hulk.
Yeah, let's skip the Hulk. Yeah. So 2008, Iron Man 1. Did you watch it in theaters back then?
No. I didn't even know this thing existed. I didn't even know there was an Iron Man movie. I was a huge Spider-Man fan. I still am, but yeah.
But did you watch it in good quality though? The first time I watched it was in some crappy DVD.
I actually saw Iron Man 2 first. Because it was there in theaters and I was in Mumbai and my brother was like, "Hey, Iron Man 2 is in theaters, let's go watch." And I'm like, "Okay, cool, Iron Man 2, yay." I haven't seen Iron Man 1, but whatever, fuck that shit. Whatever. So just go there and like, yeah, it's not a bad movie, whatever. And then I go back, then slowly, I get open to this realm called the internet where I get my hands on that movie. Or like, fuck, this movie is amazing. Why haven't I seen this in theaters? And that movie essentially is an evergreen movie for me. If I'm bored, if I would like to go back to something, Iron Man 1 is the movie that I like to watch again and again whenever I feel like. It's basically like what Spider-Man does to me. Iron Man kind of does it to the same intensity. Iron Man 1 in particular.
But here's the thing. Of all the character intro movies that have been made, the first part ones, which movie do you think does the most justice to the character?
Iron Man 1. Man.
Iron Man 1, right?
Wait, are you talking about just the cinematic universe or like all of them?
Universe.
Yeah, Iron Man 1, yeah.
But
I'd say exactly. I was gonna say Doctor Strange.
But it still was not as much as Iron Man. But here's the thing, it's still very debatable though.
But I like Guardians more. I like Guardians more as an origin movie.
Guardians is good, but it didn't kickstart an entire.
It didn't kickstart, but then no, that's what the thing. By that logic, Iron Man should always be the thing.
But here's the thing, dude. Like if Guardians of Galaxy exists right now. Or pretty much any movie that exists right now, some credit goes to Iron Man 1.
Of course, dude.
Right.
He's the godfather.
Yeah, because the reason why Guardians of the Galaxy was ever made or it had a good budget was because they understood the potential of all these, superhero movies. Yeah. And Iron Man 1 was the first movie that Marvel did well. Yeah. Where, you could see the character grow up because he had his own struggles. He was just a normal human being, very genius, but still... let's go through the very key scenes of Iron Man 1 that had the biggest impact on us. Yeah.
Anyway, without any further ado, what's your favorite scene from Iron Man 1?
Iron Man 1?
Yeah.
Depends, man. So the first, one of the best scenes that I like from Iron Man 1 is the first time he tries out the suit.
tries on the suit.
Yeah,
like in the cave or
not in the cave.
Yeah,
At
okay.
his home, back home. So he builds his Mark One, and then he takes it out for a spin. Right? Remember that scene?
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite scenes for Iron Man. But if you talk about Tony Stark, there are a lot of different things because
Yeah, like what's your favorite scene, irrespective of Iron Man or Tony Stark? What's your favorite scene from the movie?
Favorite scene from the movie?
Yeah.
I would still say it is Iron Man taking the
first flight.
Yeah, the first flight.
Why?
It's because it was shown in first person view.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and because it showed the evolution of how complex it was even for him to build. Like he already had shrunk the arc reactor, and then he had put it in his suit, and then he had to figure out the aerodynamics, and then how to arm it, and then he immediately after testing out the Mark One suit, he immediately takes it to battle. Remember the scene where he takes it to battle as a tank, he fights off a couple of terrorists, there's an F-22 fighter scene. So the escalation is really high once he has the suit because he understood what the potential of the suit. He understood that he's now a figure of power where he can influence a lot of people, he can take things in his own control. Good or bad, that's debatable, that's pretty much the Senate scene that happens in the movie. But it showed that a character, if he takes ownership and if he really wants to do something, he can use his own technologies or whatever to, bring up a change in his own area.
I'd call it room for no error.
Room for no error.
Yeah.
Why though?
Because, see, first time he makes a mistake, he didn't really consider the altitude thing. And then he freezes and then he falls down. But it was the first time he was in the battlefield. And it was obviously so apparent that if he's going into a battlefield, all his armor needs to be number 1, bulletproof, number 2, whatever proof, number 3, a freaking jet goes through him, dude. Nothing happens to him. Number 4, a tank freaking hits him in the face.
Yeah, and
nothing
he takes out a small thing, it's like, boop.
Yeah.
Dude, that scene is so iconic. It's a superhero walk where, shit is blowing up behind you and you're just walking away from it. That scene is there in so many movies right now.
Yeah, but do you think Iron Man does the most justice to it? It's there in
It's
Wolverine
the most
too.
memed thing.
Okay.
Is it not?
It is.
The explosion behind him, Iron Man just like casually walking off. Dude, that shit doesn't even explode before he turns back and walks away. He just fires it, he goes back, then it explodes 2 seconds later.
Room for no error.
Room for no error.
Okay, my favorite scene definitely needs to be the cave scene where he's building his arc reactor with anything and everything that he has access to. For sure, because of multiple things. Of course, the technicality of it, like how it was shot and what music it was being played. Yeah, Marvel is very notorious when it comes to music that they haven't been using good music that is memorable and all that stuff. But anyway, the music there like has such a beautiful impact. Like, and it's basically Tony Stark. Like I was saying, Room for No Error. He was taking off his electromagnet, which his companion, I forget his name. What was his name, man? Shit.
Yeah, he dies in that.
Yeah, anyway, yeah. Spoiler alert!
Dude, that was 2008 movie, dude.
For the next generation,
Endgame
bro.
is happening. Characters have already died. There's no spoiler anymore. It's gone.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So, I was saying like I was saying, Room for No Error, because he's literally taking off the electromagnet that his Sergei, never mind. Yeah, his companion puts, and basically he goes like, yeah, this is it. This is what I'm making, and this is what is going to replace, and this is what is going to power either me for 55 lifetimes or something huge for 15 minutes. And that's when something sparked. And like I say, everything begins with an idea. It began as an idea over there. It was the inception of Iron Man in that cave. Desperate times need desperate measures. It was
His
Iron
mentality,
Man.
mindset, everything came from that cave.
It was Iron Man. It was Tony Stark, one and only, both being one. And I mean, they are one, but you know what I mean. Yeah, it was him in his most prime, even though he was at his lowest, even though he had nothing to work with. It was him struggling his way through for life, for his own life, and for his friend's life, of course. But that didn't really, like he already spoiled, that didn't really pan out that well. But yeah, I love the cinematography in that. I'd like to treat at least one of my projects like that. Yeah, with minimal things in
The
a
cave scene is very adrenaline rush, man. It's like, because it's very theatrical how they showed it. It's like people are just wondering what's happening here, and then just like 2 lights, Iron Man's eyes light up, and then it's like, boosh, He has flamethrowers. It doesn't have anything explosive. Just like, stuff laying around that he had to use to get out of there.
Yeah.
Even thrusters, like he flies off and then falls. Everything's broken apart.
Yeah.
So it's very innovative of him to do that in a cave, which basically propelled him to basically nanotechnology right now.
Yeah, I would say that was the scene which set the base for all the movies that were coming after it.
The cave scene?
Yeah, the cave scene.
Why would you say?
Because that's where he becomes larger than himself, larger than life. And all the characters that follow are larger than life. And that was the thing that set up the foundation to all the things that were coming later. That is what makes us believe in Thor. That scene is what, me. It could be different for different people. For me, I think that sets the base to believe in Thor, to believe in Doctor Strange, to believe in Captain America and the serum that works with Captain America and all that stuff. That scene makes us believe that impossible things can happen. Yeah.
So it's pretty much the same formula that has been applied all over in movies, character introduction movies.
That's for other podcasts.
No, anyway, we're going to discuss Thor and First Avenger, right? So this is eventually going to come up.
The origin, like all movies, like every movie is the same story, essentially. But as far as origins go, I think, most origin stories kind of follow the same pattern. That the character does something. Yeah. Even the first is always exploration of the particular person's personality and character and what he's gonna become. Second is always like, okay, what if we take away those powers? Ant-Man 2 was essentially that.
Yeah.
And Thor 2 was essentially that. Thor 1 was also that, actually. But Captain America, well, he never lost his powers, but well.
He never had them, but he got them.
What I just said was redundant. Never mind.
Yeah.
So I think that was my favorite scene from Thor 1. Iron Man 1.
Iron Man 1, yeah. But other than that, even if you look at what Tony Stark was, the Jericho missile testing thing, the attitude that Tony Stark carries with him. Yeah. Aapka Jericho. Dude, don't do that Hindi translation. Please don't.
Fuck you, Hollywood. Do Hindi correct. You fucked up Hindi in Daredevil 2, even though it was nice. But well, you fucked it up.
What Daredevil 2?
Daredevil, the second season.
In Hindi?
Third season, sorry, never mind.
In Hindi?
Abe, no. There was the Indian guy, right, in Daredevil 3.
Yeah.
He is decent enough, but accents, bro. You do French right, you do Italian right, you do whatever, Colombian right, Spanish right. Why can't you do Hindi right? Anyway,
yeah. So the entire Tony Stark attitude where he's, super charismatic and confident is like well displayed in that Jericho scene.
Yeah.
He knows how much potential and what capacity he has.
The most swaggest scene goes to that, where he's displaying the Jericho.
Yeah, man.
Like, what was the dialogue? I think my father said that the best weapon is the weapon that you only have to press once. But why do you even have to do that? Something like that? I don't know. I don't remember. Yeah. And I present to you the Jericho.
Yeah, man. That's incredible. That is an incredible scene. Even that scene is very heavily memed.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah. So that's Iron Man 1. A lot of good things from Iron Man 1.
When you give your girl a good time. Okay, a lot about Iron Man 1. Let's go to Iron Man 2. I think that was the next movie that came out.
Iron Man 2, I was thinking Thor.
Iron Man 2, I think, came first, right?
Yeah. Iron Man 2 came.
Let's just talk about Iron Man 2. It's not that great of a film
Iron
anyway.
Man 2, such a disappointment. It's like, now that we know Iron Man 1 is successful, let's just like they completely screwed up the storyline. I don't know what happened in that movie, why the villain was chosen that way, but everything was about more gadgets. That's why he's carrying a suitcase suit around, which is still a good thing. But I don't understand why they had to bring in Hammer Industries, all those things. It complicated too much in that movie.
Maybe they wanted to. Yeah, now that you've said it, I guess Hammer was a little too much, but I think Hammer Industries was what gave the antagonist a push. So even though Tony Stark is trying to corner him from all angles, Hammer Industries is what is rivaling Tony Stark and therefore the friend of the antagonist. What's his name? Whiplash. Yeah.
So he's still not as bad as Iron Man 3, which is terrible.
Yeah, Iron Man 3... Yeah,
one
let's
with,
not talk about it.
the one where 50 suits are flying around you and like everything.
Why? What's the point of that?
Dude,
yeah.
those suits burst like firecrackers. I don't know what happened in that movie.
Yeah.
It's like those guys, you know.
Iron Man 2, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 2. Iron Man 3 will get there.
Yeah. So Iron Man 2, man. Yeah, I liked Iron Man 2 also. Kind of like only certain scenes. So it's like certain sections of the movie were memorable, but majority of it was still not, you know, that appealing as much as Iron Man 1. Which is kind of to be expected with sequels anyway. But yeah, Iron Man 2. One scene that I like the most.
Yeah, one scene. Iron Man 1, we already talked about like 3 scenes, dude, just one scene. One that is the crown, that just wears the crown in Iron Man 2.
It's a difficult task, man.
Well, other than the post-credit scenes, yeah, because of course Avengers Initiative happens in the first Iron Man itself.
Yeah.
You think you're the only one? Never mind.
See,
4 scenes.
I don't really like any scene from Iron Man 2. I like some, like the intro that they had. Well, I like that scene where he's just dropping off from a
There was a deleted scene.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, where he's just like puking and puking.
Yeah,
I just gotta go. Like,
Yeah. So I like the scene where how they open the movie where he's just, you know, flying out of a plane. Like basically dropping out of a plane.
Dude, the songs are so nice, dude.
Yeah.
Why do people say that Marvel like fucks up the score? I think that's because of that one particular video that came out. Why Marvel's...
Back in Black.
Yeah.
Like, such a good song.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's just dropping out and just a random firecracker hits him, nothing happens, he just flies down anyway. So I like that scene, but if I had to tell which one I like the most, it has to be the fight that he did with...
Whiplash.
Not Whiplash. In the end, with him and
the other...
right. Final fight scene, because that's the only action sequence that I liked. And everything else was pretty much, you know, nothing really got me going like, hyped up about it. Yeah. What about you though?
For me, it's the scene where... Tony Stark knows that he's dying because of palladium in his heart and all that stuff. He's dying because of radioactive poisoning and all that jazz. He's trying to live his life, and when he thinks that he has defeated Ironmonger in the first film itself, he thinks that, well, there's no other threat, and Hammer Industries is way behind its time, like way behind. It's just not gonna happen. That's when he's trying to live his life to his fullest, and he's there in the F1. That's where Whiplash is like, ha, fuck you, Tony Stark. And then he literally comes and splits the car in half and all that. Why I like that scene is not because of the action sequences. Maybe it's it's not the best action sequences, let's just put it that way. It's nice, it's very fearsome, it's very terrifying. And that terror was what was reflecting in the antagonist's face, in Iron Man's face, and that's what made me relate to the scene so much, because if I was him, I would be terrified too, no matter who I am. Like, even if I'm Tony Stark, the most, let's say, the powerful guy in the entire Earth at that time, let's just say it that way, because Captain Marvel existed. But yeah, even he was afraid for a significant amount of time. He was like, I'm gonna die, but I don't want to die this soon. Like, I need to fight this guy, but I can't. And that's when his friends, his girlfriend and his security, so-called security and driver, but his best friend basically,
even
he comes to his rescue.
When he defeats Whiplash on the first time, he takes out his reactor and he scans it, right? And then he meets him, remember, in the prison. He's like, you came close, but he also tells like suggestions. You could have spun up the cycles, whatever lingo. So yeah, he actually gave props to him. And then he tells that, you know, my dad, Anton Wonko, was the one who worked with your dad and all that. And, you know, our family does not get enough credit. You've come from a family of thieves and all that. So there's a lot of backstory that way. But either way, it's not that impactful though.
Yeah, for me, that scene was impactful because I could see the fear in him. And that is what I think has made an impression in my head, because it's now or never, one, and it's fight or flight. And flight was not an option. And even though he was afraid, he was terrified, he had to figure it out and he had to fight.
Yeah. He basically wrapped those things around him. He had to get close to him, right?
He had to fight and he fought. And that is what I think is reflecting in all people. Like, in general in life, where people think it's, yeah, I'm afraid of it, but you need to do it in order to get past your fears, in order to, like, yeah, even though it's coming as a hurdle, even though it's coming like a whiplash, you gotta fucking do it. You gotta try doing it. Trying is at least 1% job done, and if you're not trying, it's 0%, and it's definitely less than 1.
Dude, we also forgot one of the most important characters that were introduced in that movie. Black Widow.
Oh, of course, dude, of course.
Black
She
Widow
was the sexiest.
She was like, oh my god, she was introduced in that movie, man. Like, people went berserk.
Yeah.
She didn't have a suit and all that, but it was Nick Fury and Shield coming into the larger picture as to, how they're already in a lot of places and already at very high levels.
Yeah, yeah.
So Black Widow was a good introduction where, suddenly she's taking over and Happy's like confused as fuck. Like, what's happening? Who is this
Happy,
chick?
that was his name, yeah.
Yeah, and like, John Favreau. Like, who's this chick? Like, she's fighting and all that.
Yeah.
So Black Widow. But one of the scenes that I liked from the movie is when he finds out that the Palladium is actually killing him, and he goes back to his father's original diagrams and gets a scan of it. And then he creates a completely new element. So that entire process of him overcoming his own mental barrier as to what he thought wouldn't be possible, which basically comes after Black Widow and Nick Fury come to him and drop a crate of, okay, here's your Happy Christmas. Your dad left you this thing. And he's like confused as shit. He's just looking through everything. Yeah. So that was a good scene for me where, he just, overcame his own barriers, and then he evolved where, he became more powerful. He became a better human being as well. So I like that scene as well in Iron Man 2. But anyway, not a big fan of the movie.
Yeah.
Thor. Okay, straight up. What's the most memorable thing from Thor 1? That, like, if I say Thor, you
For
immediately
me?
go to it. Yeah.
It's the scene where he's trying to find his hammer, he's fighting everybody, and he's getting into it.
That's usually you like the scene the most?
I love that scene. It's because, let's say the magic is real in the world. Well, it is real in that world. It's basically science. But the hammer is going to be only with the person who
For whosoever wields the hammer shall possess the power of Thor.
Yeah, whosoever wields the... Yeah. Can you say that again so that I can say it again? Whosoever wields the power of Thor shall possess the hammer. So he needs to prove that he is worthy. And since he is so overshadowed by his own self-confidence, which has now become overconfidence, and he's like, yeah, that's my hammer. Hey, you're back. I'm just going to get to you. And in that scene, when he's there's so much happening, and there's so much subtlety in that scene, even though it's an action scene where Thor is fighting these people, but there's so much more that is happening in the scene. So Coulson says to Hawkeye that, go to that height, go there, I need guns in the air, whatever, like there's some dialogue of him. The next shot, they show so many guns and Hawkeye's hand reaching out for the gun, but stopping there and going for his crossbow, going for his bow and arrow. And that basically essentially shows that Thor's weapon is the hammer, and Hawkeye's weapon is the bow and arrow. And Hawkeye doesn't need magic to be Hawkeye, but Thor does. And Thor is literally nothing, even though he's so powerful that he still needs to be worthy of what he's wielding. So that is why that scene is so... It's sad because he's not able to pick that hammer up. So that is why I connect to him, because even though you're so destined, even though you're destined, or even if you're so determined to be where you are, sometimes after so many hardships and so much things that you do to reach there, sometimes it just doesn't happen. And that is what that scene shows. That is what that scene tells me. That, yeah, even though that you are trying to achieve what you want to, there's a high possibility that you may not be able to do, but that'll only come when you're seeing things in a new light. Here, for Thor, the new light was being human. And once he embraced being human, that is when he wielded the hammer. And that is why that particular scene is my favorite scene in that movie.
Yeah. So it's such a emotional moment at the stage, because you can see the pure disappointment, not disappointment, or the sadness on his face when he really tried to pick up the hammer, but he couldn't. And at that moment, Loki comes and pays him a visit.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, brother. The usual Loki. He tries to pick up the hammer himself, but by that stage, Odin had already enchanted Mjolnir with, whosoever holds the hammer shall possess the power of Thor. So, yeah, it's a very good thing that Odin did. When You remember when the movie starts, he says, "This is a great thing. It can be a tool to build cities,
Yeah.
or it can be a weapon to destroy planets." Something like that, he
Yeah,
says.
yeah.
And it shows that with basically Spider-Man quote, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
And Thor, if he went the usual route, he could have become the blue guy from Ronin or whatever, because they just get a powerful weapon and then they just go berserk with it. But Thor had to be more human so that he understands what good power is, capable of doing. So Thor is really nice. But for Thor 1, it's more about action for me rather than Thor himself. You remember the first time Thor and his bandmates go to Jotunheim?
Yeah, I do.
That is one of my favorite scenes from Thor because I love that scene. I love that scene.
That's a good scene. That's a good scene.
Very good scene. It showed the hammer's potential in the most rudimentary form, like what it's actually capable of.
Yeah.
Like it can do small damage, it can do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
rocks are coming. He's like, he puts lightning and then destroys the entire thing, and then the big thing comes.
Yeah.
We saw him fly for the first time using the hammer. So a lot of initial things came from Thor 1, and I like it. The subsequent Thor movies, not so much. Ragnarok definitely, but not Thor 1. But it's a good introduction to Thor. Not as much as Black Panther or Doctor Strange, but still a good one.
Yeah. So yeah, that was Thor for me. I kind of like the character. But the thing is, I've been reading about these characters so much since my childhood, that I know that this is what's gonna be there. And the good thing is they're not sticking completely to the comics. They're like changing and terraforming. Wow. They're changing and forming the structure in their own way so that it actually fits the universe and the generation who's watching and growing with it. So that's really nice.
Yeah. At this stage, like now that we know that Marvel is pretty much planning to release Avengers and every character had their own time, so they waited like a couple of years for Avengers to come out, basically 4 years. 2008 was when Iron Man came out, 2012 was when first Avengers came.
Yeah.
So after Thor came Captain America.
Yeah.
The first Avenger.
Yeah. What's your favorite scene from Captain America?
Captain America, the first Avenger. Okay, I remember this. Okay, I don't remember this movie well. It's very vague, but that pretty much tells the best moments I should remember by default. So the most important scene, that I like from that movie is when he gets beat up in the alleyway and Bucky comes and saves him. That is a scene. And the second scene is when he sees the doctor die in front of him and he points like this, your heart. He points it to Captain America that. So that basically tells why Captain America is Captain America, why he was chosen by a lot of people to be that person who carries such a power to him. And then soon as he becomes Captain America, he's like immediately he follows the Hydra agent and like, ooh, I can run faster. So all of those things, like eventually he grasped like the capabilities and then he goes on mission. Like, so you saw Captain America's growth through the movies. The first movie was very basic. The Winter Soldier, and then however Captain America was represented in subsequent movies, he was faster. He was using his shield better. He became better. His fight techniques were nicer. He was more of a strategist, more like Batman, where
he basically grew and evolved.
Yeah. He basically became like the Batman of the group. I'm not saying Batman, but he's like, you go there, you go there, you do this, you do this. He planned everything.
Well, he's from the war background.
Yeah, so he's from a war background.
He's a captain.
He's a captain. Yeah, so Red Skull and all that, not so much. It's a good character to look at and all the vibe of the movie because it's set in 60s, 70s, whatever. But yeah, it's a good movie, but not that much.
Yeah, so for me, it's again 2 scenes for me. Like, I don't remember the movie in the movie itself as the movie itself because, I only saw the movie once. Yeah, so it's of course the scene where he's like, I can do this all day, where he's getting beat up in the alley. That essentially shows what Steve Rogers is. When you pointed out, when he says he points towards the heart, suddenly this realization came, like how important it is for someone to actually put all his or her faith in you and like direct you somewhere that you can do this. And I think that was the turning point for Captain America. And if it wasn't for the Doctor, maybe Captain America could have been something else. Maybe he would be whatever, Hydra by now, like whatever happened in the new comic
But here's the thing, dude, like of all the initial Avengers, I know that they're heroes, they're willing to give up a lot of things to save people. But I think Captain America is the only one who is willing to die with the team.
Yeah.
Because
That's what he did in the first film.
Yeah, because
he's like, I don't care, I'm gonna take this ship with
which
me.
movie it was, whether it was Avengers 2, whatever. But he says like, if we stay there, we'll die, and he says we'll die together.
Yeah.
So that is like, oh my god, like he's such an embodiment of doing the right thing, that he's willing to sacrifice himself for the greater cause. Whereas Iron Man is a little more scaled out, because you can see that he's trying to cover entire Earth in shields or whatever. He's like, this program, that program. He's doing all of that. Whereas Captain America is like, okay, come down to the basics. What is it that we need to do?
Yeah.
So it's very debatable which is the right approach, Iron Man or Captain
That's what
America
Civil War was
is.
basically.
Basically Civil War. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Pretty much that. But yeah, Captain America, see, I didn't fall in love with the character when the first movie came out. But when the second movie went,
keep that for the second. Keep that for the second phase.
Damn it, man! Like I need to talk about this shit.
Keep that for the second phase.
Okay, so we're jumping to Avengers, is it now?
So the second scene that I really liked was from Captain America was when the Red Skull punches his shield and there's a dent in his shield. That was the moment in the movie where his strength, when he knew his strength in its full potential, was challenged. And there's nothing more stronger than somebody challenging the best of your potential. There's nothing much more personal than that.
I thought you would say vibranium, but whatever.
No,
There's nothing stronger
vibranium.
than vibranium.
I mean, that's essentially is just a shield, right? Like,
Because dude, like Captain America's shield, whenever it is on screen, it has a lot of presence.
it has a presence.
It has a lot of presence because it's a symbol.
Yeah.
Because like eventually when we get to Avengers also,
Yeah.
you like it's done a lot of things in the movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So Avengers, go ahead.
Avengers, man, very special movie for us because very special movie for us. Like right after high school, when we were about to depart on our own ways, different paths.
Yeah.
That is a movie that we last saw together.
Yeah.
After great difficulty. So yeah.
We literally paid up for the ticket in coins. In coins.
Not coins, man, but yeah, like we rushed. We took up 2 buses to get there. So
And we literally ran from the bus stop. Even though it wasn't the bus stop, it was just a signal, we still ran.
Here's the thing why
scene.
Avengers 1 was such a big movie for us. I'll tell you why. Because every movie that we saw Thor in theaters. We saw whatever movie we saw in theaters, it was just because we were there and like some random 10 people sitting spread across the theater.
Yeah.
But Avengers was the movie when the theater was packed. Like crowd was screaming inside. I remember the moment we came out, I couldn't talk because I had lost my voice. We were like, whoa, like Hulk is going, whoa, like every time when a character was on screen, it was such a good feeling, like, oh my god, like he's there, okay, they're all in the same movie.
Yeah.
How is this happening? That was Avengers 1 was such a great movie for me. It is still one of my all-time favorites Marvel movies ever.
Yeah, but what's your all-time favorite scene?
All-time favorite scene?
Yeah, one scene.
That's a very difficult task.
Of course it is. Even I have 2 scenes, but I will just mention it and like I will say why I particularly chose this scene. I mean, particularly liked this scene. So yeah, go ahead. You can say 2 scenes. Okay, 2 scenes max.
Depends. Scene, what duration is it? Because it's a sequence of events that happens. So for me, the best scenes were definitely as soon as the wormhole opens and all those Chitauri
comes.
They enter and then Iron Man just immediately goes to like blast him and then he's like, oh my god, more people are coming. I need my team. And then the rest of the team comes and then there's synergy. They're working together. Like Iron Man flies in, he's putting his blasters and Captain America shield and like ching.
Yeah, the one shot.
Yeah.
The one shot.
And then all of those things where it's a proper team and they're all working with each other. It's like really good. A lot of little scenes from that movie are nice. Where Iron Man is also like, rich man in a suit of armor, take it away, what are you? Like everything about you came from a like test tube, whatever. He says that, right? So even after all of those things, like how the characters worked out, and that is pretty much the initiation of how this team's importance was shown on screen for the very first time. Like Loki, I know that even though Thor is also there, which I still think that Thor is very much underplayed in these movies, just so he's not so out of reach of all these other characters, like in terms of comic book potential. because Loki came from out of nowhere and he's like, 6 people are there, but he's still like playing with them. I know he's god of mischief and whatever, but Thor is still a demigod. He can destroy planets, whatever. So I think they still underplayed Thor in those manners where he's like, they put him more human and not like the brutal Thor that Thor is supposed to be. But anyways, like still, I love that movie, man. It's still such a classic movie. It's the only movie that I have in Blu-ray. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it's almost the same reasons. I love the one shot, obviously, because of the technicalities and the synergy that is there in the team. But more than that, why I chose the scene that I'm going to say is because it's just one scene. I think it's somewhere around 10 minutes, maximum 10 minutes. And all the characters' characterization has come out. And that's the scene when they are arguing with each other as to like what is going on in S.H.I.E.L.D. and who needs to do what. Like a little before, the banter that you were talking about, where even Bruce Banner goes like, "What is this? We're not a team. We're a time bomb about to burst out any moment."
Yeah, when Loki mind fucked everybody.
Yeah. So Nick Fury is talking about why he's doing what he's doing. Tony Stark is questioning him because he's making weapons and he's completely against weapons now because of his character arc in Ant-Man 1 and Ant-Man 2. Captain America is like this is exactly how it was in the olden times. Nothing has changed. Why should I follow your orders? Black Widow is like, yeah, whatever, Black Widow is just being Black Widow. Hawkeye is nowhere to be seen because, well, Hawkeye.
But still, man, like, Hawkeye was also shown nice where he's like shooting an arrow.
No, of
like,
course.
Loki's catching it.
Yeah. It becomes personal for Hawkeye, but that particular scene, Hawkeye wasn't there. But it becomes really personal for Hawkeye a little later too because he's the one who's pointing his arrow at Loki towards the end, not anybody else. Even though everybody else had the same amount of grudge, but Hawkeye was being Hawkeye saying, no, because I'm the person.
He was controlled by him, right?
Yeah. So anyway, who is remaining? Thor is just being Thor. He's like, okay, you were afraid of me. I'm not even doing anything, whatever. Yeah. So that's the scene. Why I like that scene is because of how it was approached. Suddenly all camera angles change. Suddenly there's a Dutch angle. Suddenly there's like moving camera towards the characters and all that jazz. It just goes in, comes out. It focuses at the other person, what the other person's saying. There's complete argument. There's chitter chatter, and slowly it goes in towards the shaft, Loki's shaft, where the Soul Stone is there, through which Loki's basically so-called, has put these people in his So it just follows the staff, and it just keeps following the staff, and the entire scene goes upside down. Basically, the entire world being upside down for Avengers, because that's not what they wanted to do. It's just something that the world has turned around, man. It's just turned around upside down, and everything's falling apart.
Dude, you know who's the unsung hero from that movie?
Who?
Coulson, man.
Of course, dude.
He died in that movie.
He died in the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up with the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Man. I've given up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I've seen 1.5 seasons. I'm like, done. I can't watch it
3 seasons I watched through.
Yeah. So Coulson and Nick Fury, man, like they've been trying to do this thing for so long.
Since the beginning. Since the inception of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Since Iron Man 1. Post-credit scene.
Since Captain Marvel.
Pretty much. Like it was built later, but whatever. But they were always there.
Yeah.
Especially Coulson and how S.H.I.E.L.D. was trying to, S.H.I.E.L.D. was one of the first people who were on the idea that there are people who are more powerful than us, and then we need to identify people who are living on Earth who can help us in this pursuit whenever a bigger challenge comes up. So Avengers Initiative. Yeah, all that. But here's the thing about Avengers that I like the most. Even though there are so many people in the movie itself, most of this time there are always 2 major characters on the screen. So there's Avengers 1. So for the very first time, we see Hulk versus Thor. Bare bones fist fight.
Yeah.
Remember that scene where Black Widow goes and tries to talk to Bruce Banner. He goes Hulk, and then Thor comes and fights with him. And then when the helicarrier is falling down, and Captain America and Iron Man work in synergy. So a lot of little things like these amplify the entire experience. Where without him that would not have happened. Without him that would not have happened. Yeah. So it's a nicely crafted movie. Yeah. So it's for the very first time, I think even the characters had to realize that this is something bigger than us. We need to put our differences aside and work on a common cause. Hence Endgame.
You jumped 2 freaking phases.
3 phases, man.
Jumped. No Age of Ultron. Nothing. No Hydra. Nothing.
Dude, that's You remember that scene when everybody's standing on the floor and then there's a camera pan shot circular where everybody's like ready and like looking upwards and like
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like,
the only shot, the only shot.
Like
the
he
most...
tells Iron Man, cover all these 4 blocks, anything that comes in turns to ash or you divert it, like whatever.
Yeah.
And then in the end, Hulk, you smash. Then he goes berserk. So that's the very first scene where you're like, oh my god, what's happening? Because it was just animated movies for us. Like we just watched like the Spider-Man thing or the Avengers animated series. It was never on screen where actual characters
came into play.
So that emotion was missing, and in these movie differences put aside and then they fight together. I really love that movie, man.
Yeah, and people said that movie was gonna flop.
No, man. Joss Whedon, man.
Joss Whedon, hats off.
Joss Whedon. Yeah.
But if you're taking a Hindi person, please take a Hindi person. Hashtag make Hindi good in Hollywood.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, man. It's like their version of what Hindi sounds to them. Yeah. Anyway, phase 1.
Phase 1.
Yeah. It's very early though. Like we were not that analytical. We were just fanboying back then.
Yeah,
it's
of
like,
course. We grew with the movies, dude. We grew with the
characters.
Yeah, it's basically like half a generation ago. It was Harry Potter for people.
10 years, man.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: if I watch Iron Man 1, I would still be blown away the same amount as I was when I watched it for the very first time.
That's because Avengers for me.
Avengers still. But here's the thing: I've seen Avengers multiple times, but Iron Man 1 also, you obviously go to YouTube, you see the very key scenes that
that you like.
But but after those things, you see how every other movie that came, the world became so much more expansive.
Yeah.
Black Panther, Doctor Strange, everything, it like massive, like blown out of proportion scales. Thor Ragnarok's even more so.
Yeah.
It's like, what? He just got passed out and like he just got
of course, dude, it needs to be in par with whatever was coming. Thanos, basically.
Yeah. But do you think Thor could have been utilized much better than he is right now?
In Infinity War?
No, in the general universe itself, in the cinematic universe. Because Thor is like, he can do light speed, he can do so many things. Like if you go to the technical description, that capabilities that Thor has.
Technical descriptions. You're reading a user manual.
Thor's resume. Like,
what are his past experiences? What are his hobbies
and everything? Okay. Of all those things, do you think Thor has been properly utilized? I know that he still played a lot of key scenes where he's one of the first people who understood the concept of Infinity Stones. You remember that scene where he's like, after he gets...
He knows about his stuff. He knows about that stuff.
He goes in those murky waters with that doctor and then revelation, all those things. But do you think Thor could have been utilized much better?
Across the Thor's arc? Across the Thor's arc?
Yeah.
Character arc?
Yeah.
Like along all parts and all Avenger movies. I think the first movie is nice. Second movie, I don't really like. Third was whatever.
Ragnarok.
Yeah, third was whatever for me. No, I think it's good. It's good. How powerful they're showing Thor right now wouldn't have been possible if they hadn't done the first and the second one.
Yeah, I think like they gave him the Superman kind of treatment where if we make him...
Well, he's donning the red cape.
I mean, I meant it like if you make him too much powerful or indestructible, he cannot get much screen time. He's like, bam, poof, gone.
Yeah.
He cannot be that. Like, I mean, even Superman has a vulnerability. That's pretty much why Batman kicked his ass in that movie in his own way.
Yeah.
So same thing here also. Like, Loki deceives him. So even in Avengers, when he's like, brother, come with me, we can fix all this. He's doing all that and Loki stabs him. So they showed like he has a human thing inside where he tries to, where his first approach is to try to rectify.
Yeah.
He's very diplomatic that way. He's not very brutish. But otherwise, Thor, man. But I still think he could have been like...
Actually, they realized that they underplayed Thor, and that is why Ragnarok came into the picture. Because they wanted to properly play.
Exactly what I was about to say. Because in that movie, pretty much what made Thor in the first two movies was destroyed.
Yeah.
Pretty much like Mjolnir blowing up.
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, you are the embodiment of your powers.
Yeah.
So you like embark it. Then that fight scene with Hulk that he has in that arena, remember when he wields his lightning for the very first time? Like Hulk is like, I don't know how high, and he's just coming. He's like, I don't know, carrying 50 tons, 70 tons of force with him, whatever.
Yeah.
And like Thor is like just
Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Leave that for Ragnarok, bro.
yeah. I'm like saying it's about Thor ka conversation. Like
Yeah.
what we thought like destroying Mjolnir. I think it should have happened a little earlier.
But that's the thing. Russo brothers, right after Ragnarok itself, they even destroyed Ragnarok in its like whatever
Asgard is
Ragnarok
gone,
tried
dude.
to do.
Asgard is gone.
So what? Ragnarok always wanted to say, hey, it's not the weapon that it's not the tool or weapon that you have, it's always the person who you are. And in the next movie itself, which is Infinity War, he has to get a weapon. So why did he lose his weapon? It just feels redundant.
I still like how they connected it though. Because
the connection is nice. The connection is nice.
Yeah, I mean it like Thanos, in order to be able to wield all the power of the Infinity Stones, he need this special equipment that is built by the dwarfs of whatever. Okay, Peter Dinklage ka dwarf. So I like the concept that they put. It's like, okay, this weapon was built for gods. Only the most powerful
can ever wield it.
Like person in the world can wield it. So I like how they shown it pretty much like how they ended Infinity Wars Part 1 was also I like because Thor came in just because of a slight mistake. He should have aimed for the head.
Yeah.
All those things. I like
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. So anyway, I like that entire journey because Thor is the one who's like, okay, you are all trying to figure out this Midgard shit. There's like bigger things at play. If I figure that out, all of this is immediately fixable.
Yeah.
Well, you're trying to kill ants, I'm trying to kill big giants in one blow. So he's like, vanishes.
Bring me Thanos!
Yeah. So he's like gone. He's like suddenly like 10 times powerful. He's like captain. Like, do you need that power? Like you were already that good. You didn't have to like blow everything. He's like,
I see you cough with the beard.
Me? I don't think so, man. Like not blonde enough. Whatever. So
that suits you.
Yeah. So he comes down and then he's like throws like cut. Everything's cut. Captain America saved. Like Groot is also blowing shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that how they shown throughout that way. But yeah.
Let's see. Man. Big things coming up for Endgame. Big things coming up for Endgame.
But here's the thing, man. Do you think Endgame is... I know that not a lot of people are able to get tickets right now.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's the most hyped movie of...
all times. Yeah. I can say... We can safely say one of the... Yeah. We can...
Of all fucking time. Because this is the first time Marvel has split an actual movie in half. It's like, okay, this is part 1, this is part 2. And the cliffhanger in movie 1 was so depressing you could have jumped out of theater itself. It's like, what is going to happen? Like, I'm not going to survive till 2019 to watch that shit, man.
Yeah. That's kind of what they did with Harry Potter too, though.
I don't give a fuck about Harry Potter.
Part 1 and part 2.
Nobody gives a fuck about Harry Potter.
Well, it technically did the same thing what
but do you
this
think,
thing is
like,
doing right now.
Obviously, Avengers has so much more appeal than Harry Potter, man. Harry Potter...
Of course. No, of course. Dude, back in the day, Harry Potter was the shit, dude.
Dude, I've seen Avengers coffee mugs everywhere. I've not seen Harry Potter coffee mugs everywhere.
Because the technology wasn't there for this kind of mass production.
No, I meant like it was more generally accepted by everyone.
Yeah.
Harry Potter got like nerdy where it's like, oh,
yeah. It's a little less.
Yeah. It's a subculture. Yeah. It's a very big subculture, but not Avengers.
Yeah, like, it's not as big.
Captured everything.
Yeah.
Dude, the moment Book My Show put their tickets up, everything went red and black. It's like sold out or one seat left in some odd fucking corner of the theater. Like nobody's going to sit there, man. Yeah. Who is going to see some single guy?
Yeah. In front of me, he wanted to take like when I was waiting in the line in the queue. So basically, the previous bookings it was available. It's just that the theater basically blocked off certain seats because whatever reason,
they put it as sold off.
So they were randomly releasing like random seats from the middle of nowhere, and they were like 4. Like somehow it was like placed, and he's like 4 tickets. 4 tickets. Okay, give me.
Yeah.
He took it off. Like bro,
like this Endgame thing is such a global event, man.
Yeah.
This Friday marks one of the biggest like things.
It's gonna blow, man. It's gonna blow. Either it's gonna be the best movie ever, like best movie experience. I don't want to say best movie experience ever, or it's just gonna have the Harry Potter syndrome.
But here's the thing, like there's a lot of anticipation to it. Yeah. So that in itself is such a big part. Yeah. I know that people will die in that movie. But
okay,
CC. I'm not saying that. CC, I'm saying people could die in that movie, but it's not going to change my view of how much importance that movie carries. Because, dude, it's a conclusion to a 10-year story.
Yeah.
They better do it well.
Yeah.
And Marvel just posted on Instagram, don't spoil Endgame, #.
Yeah. So anyway, what I was asking was, if you were to choose one scene from the entire Phase 1, which one would it be? Don't say why, just which one would it be?
The one I like the most.
Yeah, entire Phase 1.
Entire Phase 1.
Yeah.
Iron Man fights Thor in the jungle.
Oh shit. Nice pick. Phase 1.
Magical. That is magical, man.
I think for me, Phase 1 would still be Iron Man making the arc reactor in the cave.
It's a logical decision.
Yeah.
But this thing is purely inspired by Goosebumps, bro.
Yeah.
It's like Iron Man fighting.
Yeah.
Don't your mother know you weareth her drips?
Yeah.
That was incredible, man. Loki's just watching, and then Captain America comes in. It's like, it's like forest is gone.
Yeah. What's your favorite scene from the entire Phase 1? Let us know in the comments.
Let us know in the comments.
Hopefully this video goes up like right now in another half an hour or so. But yeah, let's see. Tomorrow, whenever you guys watch it, let us know in the comments.